The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
Well, welcome back. I know you have been on our podcast before.
Long time ago.
Several years ago.
Yep.
But Jay, welcome. Why don't you introduce yourselves to our listeners, and then we'll get into IT Enabled and how we all fit together.
All right. Well, I'll start, and because Jay's kind of new. So I'm Chris Smith. My partner Mitch Foreman and I started IT Enabled about, I think this is eighth year. So 2018. We're working on our 8th year, so it's been great. We're growing like crazy, and this last year we brought on Jelinek, who's now our general manager, and so he brings a wealth of knowledge for us.
Started September 9th, and
Nice.
my role is general manager, so yeah, been fantastic.
And both from Lufkin?
Mm-hmm.
This is home for both.
1995, graduate of Lufkin High School.
Not exactly. I've been a transfer Plano Senior High School,
Okay.
class 89, so I've been here 30 plus years.
Yeah, so it's home.
Yeah, it's home for me,
Absolutely.
family and all. So
Well, first of all, we're just delighted to have you both on here. Thank you so much for continuing to be the presenting sponsor for the Connect podcast. It's been a great partnership all these years. So we truly appreciate y'all.
that's
So,
pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, we love doing it.
Yeah, awesome.
And for people who maybe have, I don't know how you would miss it because this is the beginning of this episode, but tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay.
Tell us about your services, and for someone who may have missed that or may not understand what it is exactly that.
Yep. So we're a managed service provider, and ultimately what that boils down to is we do IT work for mostly small and medium-sized businesses. So a lot of times small businesses don't have the budget to have a full-time IT person. We take that on and help them with their IT needs on a part-time basis.
They help us run very smooth. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
The great part, so we partner with IT Enabled on our phone systems, and y'all installed a second line for us. We never even know that we're down, and y'all will call and say, hey, we're fixing this issue, which is great for us because we never know there's even an issue.
So basic stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, most businesses these days work on the internet, and they need the internet to survive. And so the question is, which provider do I go to? Well, we really like to have two, because all of them have problems at different times. And if you have two, most likely, unless somebody's got a backhoe in front of your building, both of them aren't down at the same time. And so the likelihood, it's cheap insurance at the end of the day. And so when one goes down, we work with those vendors on behalf of the customer to get that internet connection back up and go back to normal.
It's been great for us. Back years ago when we had a different provider, if our phones went dead, our computers went dead, we were dead in the water.
Business for the day.
I remember closing the office saying, we've been out for 3 hours, everybody just go home.
Yeah.
Enjoy your afternoon. Which is really nice not to have to do that now.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
Yep, definitely stabilizes
Yeah.
it greatly.
And you've got a great crew over there. How many people do y'all have with your office?
16 now.
Yeah, that's 16 of us.
It's growing
Great.
It's growing big.
How did this get started? How did you guys get into managed services like this?
Yep. So, man, it was 2014 or so. I just left my previous employer and was working actually at a church here locally, and got to the point where it was like, man, you guys don't need me here full time. I'm going to do this for other people and see if I can't get a little customer base, right? Did that for a couple of years. Worked up to the point where I couldn't really do it by myself anymore. And another gentleman that I worked with, Mitch, who worked with me previously, he basically done the same thing and gotten to himself to the point where he couldn't really do it alone. And so we partnered up, started the company, and started hiring people to help us in this mission.
Love that.
Yeah, no, it's been great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what do you think is the most overlooked aspect of IT that you see your customers deal with?
Yeah, at the end of the day, everybody has data.
Yeah.
but you just don't know where it is a lot of times, right? And that data, if it goes away tomorrow, it really wrecks your day, right?
Yeah.
And so knowing that you have good backups, that you know that if something bad happens, you could get that data back, is a peace of mind that people often overlook.
Yeah.
And so making sure you got good backups of all your data, not just that one spreadsheet that you have on your desktop, but also there's so many other places that you store bits of information about your business and finances and all those things that you got to make sure that that's getting backed up.
Absolutely.
It's critical.
I love this role of managed services. It's, as we grow in our business, we're a managed service. Like we kind of operate in the same way that you do that. Most of our clients, they're not big enough to have their own in-house content creation, video production teams.
That's right.
And that's the majority of businesses.
Yeah.
Like the ones that are, it's same as your case, the ones that are big enough to have their own internal IT teams are pretty small amount, the vast majority of businesses out there. And so as you're listening to this and you're a business owner and you're trying to scale and trying to grow, but managed services like this are huge because it's, I don't want to say it's new, but it's a newer type of business model where for years, decades, centuries even, you've thought, okay, I've got to hire somebody to do this. That's how I grow my business. And you don't have to do that anymore. Like it's a lot of times it's still like first person you hire is the bookkeeper, right? And even that you can do a managed contract service with, and it lets you scale and grow way faster and with a lot less risk than having to employ somebody, right? Where it's like, okay, let me put this person on payroll and fingers crossed we have enough business to come in to pay you, right? It just makes growing so much easier.
Yes.
Do you see that?
Absolutely.
So what's fascinating to me in my short period of time, coming from a totally different industry, coming into the tech industry, it's fascinating in 5 months to see what kind of impact you can have on a small business. So the perfect example for me is walking into a family-run business that they've tried to do their IT needs from day one on their own because they felt like that's all they had. That's the only resource they ever had. And to see the relief on their face when we come in and we say, hey, I'm Jay with IT Enabled, and we start talking through things, the relief on their face is, wow, I'm glad you showed up here. So at that point, we're taking the headache off their shoulders. That burden becomes ours. And after that, they can just focus on the customer and what their business is all about.
Yeah.
That's neat to see that in the eyes of a customer.
I love that.
Yes.
Let's talk about AI. I mean, that's a hot topic right now. We all use it. I'm learning to use it. I'll throw in an email that I'm mad at, and I'll throw it into ChatGPT and say, fix this and make it polite. And it brings it right back to me. And I'm like, that's exactly what I meant to say and how I meant to say it.
Kind of gets you going, too.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but let's talk about how you're using AI in your system and how it has completely changed probably what you've been doing over the last
Not
8 years.
completely changed, but definitely sped it up greatly, right? There's programs that we write, not daily, but at least weekly, that would have taken a few hours that literally it'll spit out a whole program in seconds.
That's amazing.
It's so amazing. At the end of the day, it's just a language. Programming languages are another language like Spanish and English.
Right.
And these AI, the thing that has gotten so big are these large language models. And it's really easy for them to predict what the next word should be, right? And so statistically, it's figuring out what the next word should be, and it kind of looks like it's chatting with you, which is why they call it Chat GPT. They've kind of marketed the weakness.
Okay.
And as you look at newer ones, they're getting faster and faster, and
Right.
that spits it out a lot faster. But the newer ones, it took it a little bit to spit out what all it wanted, and so it looks like a chat, and so they call it chat.
That's crazy.
It is. ChatGPT, I didn't know anything about it hardly at all until I got bored. I'm like, I'm the only one not doing this.
Yeah.
I need to figure out what I need to do here. I'm going to chat something. And it's fascinating.
It's changed since the last time we had you on the podcast. We talked about AI last time we were here, and that conversation was very precautionary. It was like, be careful what data you're giving it from your internal system, and you still have to do.
still have to.
But that was like our main concern when we had you on, I guess, a little over a year ago. And since then, it's now turned into this world of you have to be using it now, and there are a lot of people worried about AI is taking away jobs, but what it's doing is it's turning into people using AI for those jobs. And it's now a tool that you have to use now.
I see it just like a calculator.
Exactly.
At the end of the day,
That's a great way to think
we cannot do the things that we do today without a calculator.
Right.
And AI is going to be the same way.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that AI is kind of grouped. Everything is lumped all together. There's so many different kinds of AI out there that we're just really talking about one particular kind right now. And there are so many out there. They've been around for 30 or 40 years. And people, what's really different now about it is that we've got these huge data centers, right? Like Amazon and Azure and Google. And those data centers have all these computers that are there ready to do our processing. And we're just figuring out how to make use of all of that.
Yeah.
With the data that we have.
You know, I think about that. What was that movie? Was it War Crimes when we were kids? You remember that? It was that giant, huge computer, and he was like, he hacked into the system, and then they were like,
Upload a virus.
what was it called? War Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I think about like that was the first time I ever saw like a computer like manually just answer you back and
Right.
like let's play a game, and I think God, how far we have come from, you know, back in the 80s when they were hacking into systems, and now here we are, and you can tell it to make you whatever, and it spits it out within seconds.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's kind of
Literally.
scary.
I mean, calculators spit things out in seconds too, right? And those don't scare us.
Right.
Just because it's spitting out words
I was
this
going to
time.
say, I think it's because it's spitting out words.
Yeah, and it
kinda freaks me out.
It does. It seems like there's more to it, but in the end, that's all a bunch of numbers still.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to look at it.
And it happens so fast, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
So
most of these technologies, right? We get a time to get accustomed to them, right? And this is like overnight, everybody's doing AI, and you're like, what just happened?
And I'm like you. I missed the boat somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm doing the
I know,
simple things.
that boat came
I'm doing
really
simple
fast.
things.
It did.
It came really
the
fast.
fastest subscription sign up in the history of the world.
Right.
People had started using it in 24 hours than
Yes.
had ever happened
Right.
in
So
the history of humanity.
it was a speedboat. If there was a
Yeah.
boat to be missed, it was a speedboat.
It was a piece of it. It's
a great one.
Couldn't happen. And we compared a lot to like drones, like in our industry. Like drones happened really fast, and we couldn't keep up. People were like, "My neighbor's spying on me while I'm in the pool with this drone. Like, what's going on with this?" And we couldn't regulate fast enough, and it made things touchy there for a couple of years. And
It's definitely a topic of a subject matter because we just talked with AC. We were a part of a conference out there, and we had a guest speaker from our company talk about AI. So it's a topic. It's absolutely up there at the top. We're going to talk about cybersecurity. They said, "Nah, let's do AI."
Yeah.
And to have everyone look around in that audience and be able to ask those questions to us and get a perspective on it was truly, yeah, it's here. It's definitely here.
yeah,
And it layers on. I mean, ultimately, there's a big part of AI in cybersecurity, even. So, things that we couldn't dream of doing without AI are now easy with AI in cybersecurity.
I remember when the whole NSA thing happened. When people were like government's listening in our phones. I remember when that happened. I remember being not worried about it because like, okay, who's gonna sit there and go through billions of these logs of calls looking for whatever it is? So like I was like, I'm not worried about it. And then it just a few short years, it's like, wow, no one has to do that.
Yeah, right.
Like,
They literally
AI can literally
transcribe them all and then find all the words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How are your clients doing that? Is it are you kind of coaching them on like safe ways to use it? And we talked before about like not giving you access to certain pieces of data, or maybe you are. How is that?
So, number one, it's picking the right one, right? That is not going to use your data.
Right.
Right. So, you've got to make sure of the ramification. When you upload your financial spreadsheet, you don't want that shared out for anybody else to use, right? So, for the most part, they're not doing that, right? They may take what you did with it and then maybe take that idea and move it on, but they're not going to share necessarily your data, but you just got to be careful of that, right? But ultimately, it's a lot of tasks that people, note taking, for instance, right? It's built into all like Microsoft Teams now. It'll transcribe your whole meeting and then give you a bullet of all of the notes that you just met about for the last hour that people weren't good at doing previously now is embedded into that application. And so that to me is kind of the crawl version of this, right? As people get comfortable with things like that, then they'll start looking at, oh man, I have this data over here. Could it look through my data and figure out where my weakness is in how I'm producing my widget day to day?
Yeah.
And that's one of the huge values of AI is that you can feed it all this mountain of data and you didn't know that there was this insight, but it picks it out and brings it to the top. forever, right? I mean, people who run a business and just have lots of ideas in their head about how their business is run will get an epiphany, right? And they're like, oh yeah, this is I gotta use this in my business. And they'll go look at the data and figure out that, yeah, the data supports it. That's what AI is really good at, is taking mounds of data and pulling out those epiphanies really quickly so that you can bring them to the top and say, oh yeah, that really makes sense. I can use that to my advantage.
It fascinates me to listen to it and to try to learn and to try to implement so that I can make what we do here better. But y'all are on a completely different scale. So you've been in business 8 years. I know you've had some great success stories. What are some of those that you can share with us?
Success stories. I mean, it feels like everyone
Yeah.
is a success story. My favorite are when somebody is in like dire straits. They'll call on the weekend, something is on fire, right? And one of them that I'm reminded of is they weren't yet a customer, but they called because their servers had been encrypted. And we came in and, man, I remember buying the Bitcoin to pay the ransom for this thing. And I got to the point where we were just about to send them the funds. And I was like, I think we need to check one more thing. And we went back and looked at something and found that the encryption hadn't encrypted their database.
Oh my gosh.
It was still running in memory, and so that it couldn't encrypt it. And so we were able to get their database back and then just reinstall the program, and everything
Went back.
went back to the way that it was. So like those stories they're just fun. But man, now I think about those Bitcoins that we bought, and I think they were $200 at that point, and we bought $5,000 worth. And now if I had those Bitcoins back, we didn't keep them. No, we sent them back. It was like,
What's fascinating when listening to Chris give you that example, in my eyes, he makes it sound so simplistic. I'm not the techie in the group. That's not why I came on board. I bring a little bit different. But what's amazing is seeing this team of people at IT Enabled that can take a moment of despair in somebody's eyes and turn it around in 4 hours. And you're like, golly, that's amazing how we do that. And to see the satisfaction on the customer, that's what's really,
The
really
relief.
Oh, yeah. We're saving them time and money and headache. And it's crazy. It's really neat to see that.
So let's talk about your role. Tell us more about your role.
I'm still trying to figure out my role.
Well, that's okay.
we're still trying to.
The good part is you're having fun.
I am having a blast every day I wake up and go to work. Every day is different. I am the general manager, so I'm working under Chris and Mitch. Keep everything in between lines operationally, a little HR here, active with the chamber, which I love being a part of that especially. I've got a company backs me up on a lot of things like that, East Texas Food Bank. Variety of other things, Lions Club, you name it. So yes, I am learning the tech side because there's a sales capacity too that I bring that skill set as kind of on the shelf for a while, but now I can really use it to the best of my ability. Use that network of being here for 30 years in Lufkin and be able to share our story and kind of match ourselves up with customers that are out there. So I do a little bit of everything at the end of the day, and that's fun. It's fun.
That's awesome.
Yep.
We have certainly enjoyed having you as a diplomat and
I
getting
love
you
it.
plugged into the
I love
chamber.
it. You're going to see me every time.
That's awesome.
Yes.
In fact, we joked one week and said, Jay, do you need an office over here? Because I think he was here like
Three times in one day, I
Let's
think,
say
yeah.
he was over here a lot. And we were like, you can have the front office.
Well, the more active you are into something, the more you're going to be around it, so-
Absolutely. Absolutely. We love it. We love it.
Well, where can people find you? So, like I said at the beginning of this, the majority of people listening to this podcast, if you're a business owner, you work in a business, you're the demographic for managed services like these. And not just for what you do, but for other parts of your business as well. If they want to do that, what does that process look like? How do they get in touch with you?
Yep, itenabled.com. There's a form there they could fill out. Call us 936-225-3329. There's somebody on the other end ready to talk to them.
Cool. And what's that like onboarding look like? You guys come out, look at their the tech.
Yeah, generally it's going to be we'll generally sometimes we have a lot of customers, so we're over 200 customers across the state of Texas now. So most of them tie back to this area somehow, but we've got some in New Mexico that are our customers. They're not really tied here anymore. So we've got a lot of customers, and so if they're remote, it'll be a FaceTime call, right? Walk us through your closets, show us what you got. Ultimately, we'll work up a proposal that is hopefully something that they're able to work with.
Very cool.
Well, we love working with y'all. We appreciate what you do to keep us running smoothly and to keep us going all the time. So thank y'all, and thank you again for being the presenting sponsor for our podcast. We're over 200 episodes in, and still averaging over 650 downloads every week. So, you know, the podcast it's going still strong. So we just appreciate your support and allowing Blake and I to tell the stories of East Texas businesses and people. It's we've filmed a lot of them today and actually had several emotional ones, but it's just fun to tell stories, and you allow that. So thank you.
Well, we love doing it. Thank you. Thank you very much.